You are pouring oceans of love into a cup that has a hole at the bottom, and you are wondering why you are the only one left, dying of thirst. Stop calling it unconditional love. Stop calling it loyalty. And most importantly, stop calling it your spiritual duty to fix a broken human being. The brutal truth that you are avoiding right now is that bleeding yourself dry to heal a toxic partner is not an act of nobility. It is a form of unconscious manipulation and profound self-destruction. You have convinced yourself that if you just love them hard enough, if you just endure a little more pain, if you can just absorb their demons into your own skin, they will finally wake up and become the person you know they can be. But you are not healing them. You are simply enabling their dysfunction while slowly dismantling your own soul. This illusion that true love requires you to act as a rehabilitation center for someone else's trauma is the exact reason why you feel so incredibly empty today. Today we are going to tear down this romanticized lie. We are going to look at why your relentless need to save them is actually destroying both of you. It is time to face the uncomfortable reality of what you are actually doing when you force a dead connection to stay alive. To understand why you are trapped in this exhausting cycle, we first need to look at who you are. You are what psychology and spiritual circles often call a super empath. You possess a beautiful, rare, and overwhelming capacity to feel the emotional frequencies of the world around you. You don't just understand someone's pain, you absorb it into your own nervous system. But in the realm of romantic relationships, this profound gift frequently transforms into a devastating curse. Why? Because a super empath is magnetically, almost fatally, drawn to shattered souls. When you look at a deeply wounded, perhaps even toxic individual, you do not see the danger that everyone else sees. You see the frightened child hidden beneath their cruel exterior. You see the potential of who they could become if only someone showed them pure, unadulterated compassion. This is the savior complex in its purest form. You operate under the subconscious belief that your love is the ultimate medicine. So, you stay. You stay through the disrespect, the emotional unavailability, and the manipulation. You keep trying to resuscitate a relationship that flatlined months or even years ago. You make excuses for their behavior, acting as their defense attorney in the court of your own mind. You think, if I leave, who will take care of them? Who will understand them like I do? But in your desperate attempt to be the architect of their healing, you have ignored the collapsing foundation of your own well-being. You are so busy trying to put the shattered pieces of their mirror back together that you haven't noticed your own hands are bleeding. You are addicted to the potential of the relationship, completely blind to the reality of the present moment. And this is exactly where the trap snaps shut. To truly dismantle this savior complex, we must turn to the brilliant Swiss psychiatrist Carl Jung and his concept of the unconscious mind. Jung warned us about a psychological mechanism that dictates almost all of our most destructive relational patterns: projection. According to Jung, whatever we do not integrate within ourselves, we project onto the external world, especially onto our romantic partners. Let's apply this to you, the super empath. You believe your intense drive to save this broken person is entirely about them, but Jung would ask you to look in the mirror. What if this obsession with fixing them is actually a projection of your own unhealed wounds? Deep in your unconscious, what Jung called the shadow, lives a part of you that feels fundamentally broken, unlovable, or unworthy. Perhaps it stems from childhood, where you had to earn love by being useful, by being the caretaker, or by fixing the chaotic adults around you. Your shadow learned a terrifying lesson. I am only worthy of love if I am saving someone. Therefore, you are not actually trying to heal your partner. You are trying to heal your own inner child through them. You are desperately hoping that if you can just fix this external broken person, you will finally prove to the universe that you are worthy of being loved in return. It is a proxy war for your own soul. Jung taught that we do not fall in love with people as they are. We fall in love with the archetypal images we project onto them. You are not loving the toxic, emotionally unavailable person sitting in front of you. You are loving the potential of who they could be, a fantasy constructed entirely in your own mind. You have superimposed the archetype of the wounded healer onto your dynamic. But as long as you are trapped in this projection, you are running from your own shadow work. It is so much easier to obsess over someone else's flaws and traumas than it is to sit in the deafening silence of your own empty room and face your own demons. Jung famously said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate." You call this painful relationship your destiny, your twin flame, your ultimate test of unconditional love. But it is not fate. It is your unhealed trauma desperately trying to recreate a familiar dynamic so you can finally write a different ending. But the ending will always be the same until you withdraw your projections. Once you realize the psychological trap of the shadow, a much darker, almost cosmic realization must follow. This is the ultimate awakening for the super empath. By constantly shielding this person from the consequences of their own actions, by absorbing their pain and carrying their burdens, you are committing a profound spiritual violation. You are interfering with their karma. In the grand architecture of the universe, every soul has a curriculum. Every soul must go through the fire of their own making to forge their own evolution. When your partner acts out of toxicity, avoidance, or cruelty, the universe is naturally designing a consequence for them, a rock bottom, meant to shatter their ego and force an awakening. Rock bottom is a sacred place. It is often the only ground solid enough to build a new life upon. But what do? The moment they are about to hit the ground, you dive in. You act as the human safety net. You absorb the impact. You take the financial hit, the emotional damage, the sleepless nights, all so they don't have to face the agonizing reality of their own choices. You think you are being a savior, but from a higher perspective, you are a thief. You are stealing their spiritual curriculum. You are robbing them of the exact pain they need to finally grow up. Who are you to play God with someone else's evolution? Who are you to decide that they should bypass the universal laws of cause and effect just because you cannot bear the discomfort of watching them struggle? This is the dark side of empathy. It can easily warp into spiritual arrogance. When you force a connection that is clearly dying, when you relentlessly push a boulder up a hill, trying to make an incompatible relationship work, you are fighting against the natural flow of destiny. Destiny, karma, the universe, whatever you choose to call it, is constantly giving you signs. The anxiety in your chest, the exhaustion in your bones, the repeated betrayals, the endless cycle of apologies without changed behavior. These are not tests of your endurance. They are eviction notices from the universe. The universe is screaming at you. This is not your assignment. By refusing to let go, you are not just harming yourself. You are actively blocking both of you from your true paths. You are holding them hostage in a state of arrested development, and you are holding yourself hostage in a state of perpetual suffering. Every ounce of energy you spend trying to rewrite their karma is an ounce of energy stolen from your own purpose. You must understand that sometimes the most profoundly loving thing you can do for a broken person is to remove your safety net, walk away, and let them fall into the hands of their own destiny. So, how do you break this curse? How do you, as a deeply feeling empath, walk away without being consumed by guilt? The answer lies in mastering the profound art of surrender. Understand the fundamental difference between giving up and surrendering. Giving up implies defeat. It comes from a place of despair, a feeling that you have failed the mission. Surrender, on the other hand, is an act of immense power and spiritual maturity. Surrendering means you finally acknowledge that you are powerless over another human being's choices, traumas, and timeline. It is the conscious decision to lay down your weapons, stop fighting the reality of who they are, and release them back to the universe. To surrender is to call your energy back home. Imagine all the mental space, the emotional labor, and the physical vitality you have poured into analyzing their texts, fixing their moods, and managing their crises. Now, imagine pulling all of those golden threads of energy back into your own chest. You must redirect that intense empathic healing power toward your own inner child, your own shadow, your own life. When you stop forcing a shattered connection to work, a terrifying but beautiful space opens up in your life. Nature abhors a vacuum. By walking away from what is draining you, You finally make room for what is meant to nourish you. You clear the energetic frequency around you, allowing destiny to step in. You stop attracting projects, and you start attracting partners. You will begin to magnetize people who do not need you to save them, but who simply want to stand beside you in wholeness. Hear this clearly. Your inability to fix them was never a reflection of your worth, your capacity to love, or your spiritual depth. You did enough. You loved enough. You sacrificed enough. It is simply time to rest. You are fully allowed to walk away from anyone who requires you to destroy yourself in order to keep them comfortable. Release them to their karma. Let them face the storms they created, so they can finally learn how to build their own shelter. And for you, it is time to step boldly into your own profound healing. The energy you have spent trying to resurrect a dead connection is the exact same energy that will build your empire, heal your body, and attract a love that feels like peace, not a relentless rescue mission. Do not apologize for choosing yourself. If this message resonated with the heavy truth you've been carrying in your heart, I need you to do something for yourself right now. Hit the like button to seal this intention. Then, I want you to make a public commitment to your own soul. Leave a comment below with this exact sentence. I release what is not mine to fix, and I take my energy back today. You are not alone on this journey. Subscribe to the channel, and together, let's continue to explore the depths of the human mind, Jungian psychology, and the absolute power of true awakening. Until next time, surrender to destiny and protect your peace.